Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker. Ha ha, got a good one for y'all. Got a good one for you. Let me ask you a question. What would you do if you were in prison and 2 weeks before you get out, your wife tells you that she's 8 weeks pregnant? What would you do? Well, that's what happened to a friend of mine. It's an interesting story, and I know it's one that you don't want to miss. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Check this out, y'all. One of my partners been in prison for about 9 years. Yeah, I did about 9 years with him. He was in prison for selling drugs, made a lot of money while he was out there doing all the things that he was doing. Uh, had a lot of women. Got like 5 kids, all by different mothers. And I'm laying this foundation because some of you may think it's relevant to this story, so I'm not going to leave anything out. I'm trying to anticipate all of the questions that you might have for me in relation to, you being able to come up with an answer to the question that I posed to you in the intro. But he had 5 different kids, 5 different mothers. Like I say, dope boy, making a lot of money, doing his thing, provided for each one of his kids and their mothers very, very well. Uh, but he had this one girl, this one woman that stood out above all the rest of them. They had no kids though. Uh, Whenever he went out of town, took trips, she went with him. Whenever he needed something done, she was there. He never got her involved in the business. You know what I'm saying? She was a college girl. He helped pay for her last couple of years of college because her family fell on hard times and they couldn't, provide that extra financial support that she needed. So he took care of all of that. Got her an apartment. You know what I'm saying? While she was in school, this was while he was out. Did all the things that he could to help her. Whatever she asked, he would do. So when he got hit, he ended up going to prison for sales and distribution of cocaine. She was there. So were his kids' mothers. So were they. They were there. He would have visits where, I'm going to just say his main girl, okay? We're going to use that terminology. I don't really like that, but I can't think of any other terminology right now to use. But his main girl, the one that had no kids, she would bring all the kids to visit him. All of the mothers, all 6 of these women were cool with each other to the extent that, they understood what it was, right? The other 5, they didn't want him anymore, but they wanted him to be a part of their kids' lives and take care of them. You know what I'm saying? They all had their own jobs. Some better than others, but they were independent women. Okay? So at visits, they would all have a ball. Sometimes the mothers would come to visit with the kids and they would all be there, different times. You can only have a certain amount of adults, but the kids, I think it's up to 5 or 7 or whatever, but all of his kids would be at visit. And it was like the weirdest thing to me because I asked him one day, I said, what is this, are you married to these women? Or is this an open relationship? And he was like, no, it wasn't like that. He met each one of them, in traffic, in the streets, doing this thing. So things happened. And he had this big extended family. And all of them, I'm telling you, you may not believe it, but they all got along. At least as far as he told me. They had their ups and downs, but still they respected whatever it was. Whatever arrangements that they had, they respected it. So he's in prison. He's working on these 8 years. He's got a lot of money, so he really didn't try to do anything, you know what I'm saying, in prison to make money. Every now and then, I would see him trying to, he might get some tobacco or something like that to keep his shelves straight, you know what I'm saying? Because in here, if you got a hustle, you kind of like, well, back in the day, not now, but back in the day, if you had a hustle, it's like most people respected you more because you were shaking something, you were doing something, you were still being rebellious towards the system. Plus, you helped that prison economy keep moving. So every now and then I would see him, he'd be moving a little tobacco or something like that. Like I said, to keep his shelf straight, but not to really make any money. He had a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? A lot of money from what I understood, because a lot of other people that were from the town he was from, they vouched for him and they all treated him with the utmost respect as far as street respect goes. You understand? This is a solid dude. So after a while, he comes to me and he tells me that, his girl, his main girl, she had met somebody. This was like about after 3 or 4 years in, that she had met somebody, and he really didn't know how to deal with that. And I was like, bruh, I said, let me just keep it 100 with you, man. Sometimes that happens. A lot of guys say they don't want to know. It helps them sleep at night. A lot of women won't tell their dude because they don't want to hurt them. They want them to be able to sleep at night. Understand and respect all of that. Understand and respect all that. But I said, but here's the situation for you, homie, where she told you because she wants you to know. You feel me? It's not that if she wouldn't have told you that she would have been being disrespectful towards him. She knew the type of man he was, and she knew that, or believed that, he could handle it. He played his role on the phone with her, telling her, as long as you answer the phone, that's what you do in the penitentiary, If your girl is doing something, as long as you answer the phone, take my calls, take care of the things that I need to be taken care of when I need them to be taken care of, and what you're doing out there don't interfere with that, then you do you until I get out. You feel me? That's what a lot of people in here live by. It is what it is, y'all. We just got to keep this 100 to be honest with ourselves. You feel what I'm saying? But this is the thing. He told her he could handle it, but when he talked to me, I could tell it was bothering him. And one of the things that he said to me, he said, man, I think this is karma coming back to get me for what I did to all the women that I had out there. I'm like, maybe. Who knows? But at the end of the day, it is what it is. What you want to do, homie? You can tell her to kick rocks, or you can just go roll with it. And he rolled with it. They had a good talk at visit. She explained to him that this is not a permanent thing. This is just something that she, every now and then she wants somebody to be with. She said she had no love for this dude, didn't want to be with this dude, all of that. You feel what I'm saying? But she said she was going to continue to come to visit, take every phone call, do whatever he needed to be done because she wanted a life with him when he came home. Period. Point blank. And he was open to that. He just felt like, that this guy, whoever it was able to do something that he couldn't do, and he felt like that was going to cause her to leave him. 1 year goes by, she's still there. 2 years go by, she's still there. 3 years go by, she's still there. Now, he's at his 7th year at this point. She hasn't missed a beat. And we don't even talk about it anymore. It's like, it is what it is. You feel me? Rolling on. She's loving it. She's holding it down. What is there to be mad about? Life is what it is. Sometimes you get thrown a curveball. Sometimes life brings you lemon, then guess what? Get you some sugar and make some lemonade. You feel me? Because it's hard to tell somebody to put their life on hold or expect them to put their life on hold in certain ways when you can't do certain things. It takes a grown man to say, okay, it is what it is. Let's just move forward. Now, some people will call that person a sucker. I don't. Life happens. Things happen in life. And if we're all honest, sometimes things happen that we don't like. But you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak. You feel what I'm saying? You have to calculate these things and say, okay, can I handle this? And if the answer is yes, then let it do what it do. Because that's what grown men do. That's what grown folks do. They just lay it out there. So check this out. Boy getting ready to go home. He's flattening it out. This is not about parole or anything like that. He gets word, they call him down to the counselor office. They tell him, look, are you going to need any transportation? Are you going to have somebody come pick you up? We're going to provide you with, they give you the khakis and all that when you leave. So they told him, you got to wear this. But once you get outside the gate, you can put whatever you want to put on. You feel me? So he's making all the arrangements. He calls her. He tells her he's excited. He's walked his little bit down. She's been there with him. Everything is good. Everything is great as far as he's concerned. And it is. It really, really is. But check this out. She's been keeping it 100 with him. She's been keeping it 100 with him the whole time. She told him at the beginning of this thing with this dude what it was. So now she has to tell him one more thing. She says that she had just, this is what he told me when he got off the phone. She said she had just found out because she had missed her period. And she was worried. She took a pregnancy test. She said that was the only thing she could think it could be. And it was negative. But she still hadn't come on, so she went to the doctor. They performed a test. I don't know what the difference is, but I guess a pregnancy test by a doctor is more thorough than a pregnancy test that you buy, from the pharmacy. And guess what? She was 8 weeks pregnant. 8 weeks pregnant, y'all. Look here. When I tell you, this man came to me, he came to the cell, he broke down. I'm talking about he broke down. I sat there and I looked at him. You know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to be mean. That's just not me. I sat there and looked at him. I said, man, you got options though, bro. I said, you getting ready to get out. What you gonna do? And he just kept saying to me, he never looked up. He kept looking down at the floor. I love her. I love her. I said, well, what's your problem then if you love her? He's like, man, at the very end of the time when I'm finna get out and go home, we finna go on with our lives, she gonna tell me she pregnant with another man's baby. I said, yeah, that's what she said. I said, but you just told me you love her. And he was like, yeah, I do love her. And I said, well, love the baby then. He looked at me, he said, that's easy for you to say because you ain't in that position. I'm like, yeah, you're right. You're right. You're absolutely right. But I said, I know this. I know me. If I loved her, I would love everything about her. That's just that on that. And see, a lot of people are not mature enough to deal with that, right? But I'm a realist, y'all. I'm a realist. Just bring it to me. Tell me what it is. Just tell me what it is. Now, I ain't gonna let you use and abuse me and have me all crazy. But just tell me what it is and let's get it on and move forward. But that's what she did with him. And he had to respect that. When you living in the streets, we always talk about street life, you know what I'm saying? How gritty and grimy it is and all this and that. But it's one thing about the streets. The streets is like you being in the ocean and a shark swimming all around. You're gonna respect that. Because you know at any time, one of them sharks veer off and come towards you, they could eat you up. You ain't nothing but a snack to them. That's what the streets is. So you respect the game, you respect the hustle. But when it comes to our personal lives, we don't know how to respect the boundaries that are laid down by the actions that we create. Meaning, this man had 5 different women with kids when he was on the street. And the one woman that he had no kids with held him down the whole time he was incarcerated. Look here, if anybody deserves props and to be respected, it's her. Period. She had been there. She had been there. So after a few days, he on the phone, he disrespectful. He was out of character. I'm going to give you that. You know what I'm saying? He was out of character. But after a few days, he on that phone, and I see him with his head down and he's whispering. I can't really understand what he's saying. It ain't my business. I'm not trying to ear hustle like that. But he's talking to her on the phone, and it's like, what we gonna do? What we gonna do? Because she's not gonna continue to take these phone calls from him to be disrespected. And he's just got a few more days left before he's on the town. He can do whatever he wants to do. But he's trying to sort this thing out. So he comes to me about 4 or 5 days before he gets ready to go home, gives me his information, tell me to stay in touch and so on and so forth. I said, I got you. I'm going to stay in touch with you, bro. You know what I'm saying? But I said, get yourself together first. You know how I do. I ain't finna call you as soon as you get out. Get yourself together. You can't help me if you can't help yourself. So I said, well, what you gonna do though? He said, man, we're gonna work this thing out, man. I said, don't you get out there and mistreat her, man. I said, don't you do that because she's pregnant. You get out there and mistreat her, she have a miscarriage, you're gonna pay for that, man. I said, don't do that. Don't do that. Because if you can't handle it, walk away. If you can handle it, man, be there for her, man. Do all the things that she needs done, man. You feel me? He said, man, I'm going to do that, man. So he gets out. She comes to pick him up. You know what I'm saying? All this and that. He's happy. I do give him a call after a couple of days. He said call him just to make sure everything's straight right. He needed that ear. You know what I'm saying? Somebody to listen to him, So I call him, I check on him. I say, everything good? He was like, yeah, man, everything Gucci, whoop-de-woo, whoop-de-woo. Man, we having a good time, this is that. I said, man, that's what I'm talking about. I said, man, what's really going on, man? You know what I'm saying? You sounding good, man. And he said, man, let me tell you what's really going on. This is what he told me, y'all. He said when he got out, day one, on the way home, she told him that dude didn't want her to leave him when he got out. But she told him, that's my dude. I ain't going nowhere. When he come home, you rolling. It's as simple as that. But she thought this dude that she was dealing with was a mature enough person to handle that. But he wasn't. So guess what he did, y'all? She said, because they always had sex with a condom, she said. He cut the condom on her. He cut it. Ended up getting her pregnant. He was trying to get her pregnant just so she would have to stay with him. He thought that was going to be enough to make her stay with him. But it wasn't. And when she told dude that, it pissed him off. It pissed him off, And he wanted to go do something to dude. But she told him, nah, that's over with. I don't want nothing from him. I don't want no more contact with him. If he wants to be in his child's life, that's cool. We'll sort that out at court. But we ain't finna do it like that. She said, we ain't finna do it like that. You know what I'm saying? We got a life to live and we finna move on. I played. I got burned. That's what it is. She said, but I'm gonna love my child. And I ain't finna be starting all this drama. You just getting out. You go do something to him. You going back to the penitentiary. So we ain't finna even do that. We finna move on with our lives. I said, man, look here, Dan. Now that's grown folk stuff right there. He was like, yeah, Joe T, man, look here, man. She kept it 100. Kept it 100 with me. He said, man, I ran into dude at the store. I said, oh, man, what happened? He said, man, dude stepped to me, man, talking all this and that and that and this. Talking about, she here, she gonna always be here as long as, what I'm saying, she got his baby, all this and that. Just throwing stuff up at him, man, trying to get him to jump. Because he know if he can get him to jump, he can go take out a warrant for him and get him thrown back in the penitentiary. You feel me? Get him charged with something. He said, I ain't take the bait. He said, I knew what he was doing. She said, man, his girl told him, because she was in the car, she seen it going down. She said she was scared he was going to do something, but he didn't. He got back in the car. They drove off from the store. They got on down, right? Now, he ain't no coward. A lot of people would have called him a coward. I don't call him no coward. I call him a man because he put his family before his personal feelings. Yeah, that's right. You heard me say it right, his family. Because sometimes things happen, y'all, you know? When we get put in these penitentiaries, man, and we think that people's lives should stop because ours have been put on pause, no. Do some of the things that happen out there hurt? Yes. Yes, they hurt. But you got to move on, man. This is the normal for people that are incarcerated. Things will happen that were not intended or intended. Either way, it is what it is. You got to move on in life and look at it like, you know what I'm saying, there's a blessing in this somewhere. You might not be able to find it initially, but it's a blessing in there somewhere. And my dude, to this day, you know, he's thriving. Yeah, he had a little girl. Yeah, it was a little girl. Now she playing little basketball. He's at the games. You know what I'm saying? He one of them dudes. He's at the game and all this and that. She calls him daddy. Her biological is in her life. You know what I'm saying? He's moved on. He got married to some other girl. You know what I'm saying? They got 2 kids now. And everything is okay. See, they both gave it time. They both gave it time to heal so that they can act like grown folks. And that's what we got to do, y'all. We can't keep going at each other, wanting to hurt each other because of the decisions that we make. Sometimes we make good decisions. Sometimes we make bad ones. But we shouldn't resort to violence to solve those problems. We shouldn't do that. That wouldn't have done anything for anybody. Just wanted to drop that on y'all. You know what I'm saying? I know that's one of them stories where, you know, some of y'all be like, no, I wouldn't have done that. I don't know. Give yourself a chance. Let your heart grow. Because when you learn a new lesson in life, guess what? Your heart is being expanded. You feel me? It's being expanded to make room for that love that you just received from the universe. See what I'm saying? So you're going to be okay. So when life throws you a curveball, catch that thing. When life serves you up lemon, go get you some sugar and make you some lemonade. This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace, y'all.